Hey, everybody, welcome to TV Chef Fantasy League, the podcast that's always misreading the instructions. I'm your host, Commissioner Mike Cablon. With me, just Sierra Cato.
Just me.
Okay.
Me.
We have to address this right up top. It's simply, for 1 second, I was like, we can maintain semblance of normalcy. No. We forgot to press record. It's just fully on us. This has happened on podcasts before.
Oh, I've done a lot of because who's gonna know?
Who's going to know?
Who's gonna know?
And it's easier to just address it up front.
Mm-hmm.
If we sound stiff, it's because the next 12 minutes of dialogue we're about to have, we just did. And
right.
So here we are.
It might be better because we kind of had a rehearsal, which
That's
you don't
true.
get to do that much.
Yeah, we had a dry run. Now we can punch up our own material.
Great.
Anyway, if he's not with us on Earth.
Oh,
that
no.
made it sound like he died.
What happened?
On Earth. No, if he had like a doctor's scheduling conflict.
Sure. But he's okay.
He's fine. It sounds serious.
So we know. No, he's fine. But yes, you gotta make sure
You gotta take care of your body.
Make sure you see the doctor when your regular checkups. Gotta do your thing.
Yeah. And sometimes that's going to interfere with your podcast.
Yeah.
And then the two hosts that are left, fuck up the recording, and that's
right.
It illustrates why we need the teamwork of all three of us.
Right. That's fair. That's fair. But yeah, and hey, it's Thanksgiving week.
That's right. This will come out. Yeah, this comes out the day before Thanksgiving.
Right. So it's a little special treat for the holidays.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say like we can cut everyone some slack because like no one's
that
committed
too.
to a schedule.
Yeah. I'm also like cut us some fucking slack, you listeners. God damn it.
You're gonna be listening to this on your drive or your flight to see your family, and you gotta cut us a little bit of slack.
I know. Jeesh. We're missing turkey for this. No, I'm kidding. It's not.
It's fine. It's
yet.
No, not yet. There's still Thanksgiving specials going on though.
Sure. Black Friday started like 9 days ago.
I know. I have my cart locked and loaded and ready to go.
Good.
I already missed one. There was one sale that like I follow this designer, and she did a series of like My Chemical Romance designs, and she was like, "I'm retiring these designs, so I'm gonna do one last sale, and when they're gone, they're gone. I'm never making them again. Don't ask me again." And the sale went online at 9 a.m., and I had a call with my wedding planner at 9 a.m., and then I had to walk the dog, and by the time I got home at like 10:15, everything was sold out.
Oh.
So you gotta move
fast. You had to move that wedding planner meeting.
I should have.
It
wasn't worth it.
Yeah, we've got some important stuff.
I could have communication that could have been an email, or I could have a cool My Chemical Romance T-shirt.
Yeah. Well, I guess I was going to say next time, but there won't be next time.
There's no next time.
Sorry about
that ship has sailed.
Yeah.
I have to make up for it by spending that money on something else. On Black
Fair. Yeah, you're now actually you gained money from that. So
Are you a Black Friday person?
Spend it. Oh yeah, I would say, in general I think I'm just a shopping year round.
Okay, yeah.
And then, now that I realize Black Friday's around the corner, it's like I kind of save it up. I'm like, "Oh, wait, I shouldn't buy that yet. Let me wait."
Yes.
Or, the Black Friday sales kind of are ongoing, so I'm already kind of using that,
Yeah. When they start earlier, there are a couple stores right now where they don't have any sale listed. I'm like, come on, you guys.
Yeah.
I know you're going to do it.
Right. You don't buy from those guys yet.
Not yet.
Don't do it.
No, I love Black Friday. I was a kid, like, we're of the age that we were still alive for the era of, like, people getting trampled at a Toys R Us. You know what I mean?
Always a Best Buy.
Yeah. And I loved doing that in high school. Like, when I had autonomy.
Trampling people.
Yeah, I fucking love smashing skulls in the name of capitalism.
5 a.m. after turkey dinner.
No. When I had a car and autonomy, I loved being like, I'm gonna go to like Best Buy at midnight. I'm gonna go to Target.
Oh wow,
at midnight.
yeah, hardcore.
It's good people watching, even if you're not gonna buy. Because I didn't have money in high school, but it's just like it's the most fun.
So you would just go and like observe.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
And it makes it a lot more fun because the stakes are lower for you.
Well,
you're not trying to like elbow someone for a television. You're like, I'm gonna watch people elbow each other for a television.
Right. I'll be in this corner and like let me know when you guys are done. That's fascinating. What a pastime that the kids these days will never enjoy.
They're missing out on it. It's a bygone era. Now they only have what happened to me this morning, which is they click and it's sold out, and they're like, oh no.
Oh shoot, yeah, that's like the metaphorical digital getting elbowed in the face.
Yeah.
Everybody's taking your.
It's
TV.
not the same.
No.
In my day, you had to put on knee pads to go shopping. You know what I mean? It's like movies like Jingle All the Way make less sense now.
Oh yeah.
Like I would be curious to hear a kid who was born in the last 15 years what they think of Jingle All the Way. Because to them, the concept of people storming into a store is like a construct of the movie, not a real life event.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I'm sure we have that instance in like watching old movies, but I'm like, I can't really think of what that might be.
Yeah. I guess like radio plays. Like, we don't have those, but we understand what they are.
Sure. Yeah,
you know?
if you watch an old movie on the Great Depression. Like,
you know all
oh,
those
yeah.
Great Depression set movies?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
See, this is all good stuff we didn't get on the first take.
No, yeah, this is all much.
This is
better
organic.
stuff.
Yeah, this
for
is it's
sure.
an improvement. You're welcome for fucking up the first recording. Here's an exciting announcement. We have merch now. If you go to the Maximum Fun store, you can buy TV Chef Fantasy League shirts and aprons. That say Cake Dom. I think a tank top too. Am I wrong? There's a third thing there.
So. I mean, you can make the T-shirt into a tank top if there's
true.
not a tank top. But
Anything's
a tank top if you try hard enough. But wow, yeah, Cake Dom.
Cake Dom.
It's really taken off. Cake Dom.
It's kinky. it's baked.
Bake and pastry related,
Yeah,
just
yeah.
like our show. I mean, yeah, and it's a bummer if he's not here to
vouch for it. It's his.
he
he
Cake
coined
Dom
it.
himself. Yeah, that's his character. But we'll clip it. We'll show that little bit from that episode, whatever that might be.
Yeah.
Just in case you don't remember, but it was great.
If you don't remember that one 30-second exchange from several episodes
Right.
ago, we'll clip it out and we'll
Then
remind you.
Are you truly a fan?
But yes, just in time for the holidays, Cake Dom shirts and aprons are available. Go to MaximumFun.org. Do I have the website right? Yeah, it's MaximumFun.org.
Oh, is it? Okay, yeah. Nice. Buy it for your
for the
family.
Yeah,
For the Dom in your family.
give it to one person who knows what Great British Bake Off is and knows what BDSM is, and they'll appreciate it. And then buy another one and just give that one to your grandma and just report back. We just want to know what grandma thinks a Cake Dom is. She'll never know.
She'll not know.
No harm, no
or
foul.
She will know, and that'll be more fun.
And then we're giving a gift to you because now you get to have that discussion as a family.
Exactly. What better than to distract from talking politics and talking Cake
Look, there's a
Dom.
lot of other things you don't want to talk about at the
get
Thanksgiving
into.
table.
Mhm.
Bring up Cake Dom.
Yeah.
Just see what happens.
See. It'll be great.
Okay, several people wrote in. Okay, last week we continued the discussion of what should our fans be called. And several people wrote in this week. I don't think we should vote on it this week. All three of us should be in the room for it.
Yeah, it would be unfair.
Yeah. So if you should be part of this discussion. But just here are the suggestions so far. Zach wrote in and suggested Fantasy Foodies. Which I like it.
2 F's.
Yeah, I love alliteration.
It's alliteration. You've got you've got both. It's pretty clear.
Yeah.
You know, and I feel like it's probably you're a foodie if you listen to this.
Yeah. We went through a huge discussion when we were starting the show of what to call it.
Yeah.
Because our lawyers told us we couldn't name it Top Chef Fantasy League.
Our legal team. And the fact that, we aren't just covering Top Chef, so we had to be kind of more generic.
But after workshopping a billion names, we simply landed on TV Chef Fantasy League.
So much
But
better.
part of the appeal was that it tells you what the show is all in the title.
Yeah.
And I'll say Fantasy Foodies, I get it.
Yeah. Tells
I know
you
what you're
who
into.
you are.
Yeah. So that has that going for it. 2 people, Danae and Kim, both wrote in and separately suggested sous chefs.
Cute.
Good.
Yeah.
Culinary term.
And it's a kind of if we're the head chefs.
Yeah.
There's sous chefs as listeners, I guess.
Yeah.
Which is, but then also could mean Sue as in
Sue on from Top Chef.
Mhm.
It could also mean the Native American tribe, the Sioux chefs.
Right, that they met on that episode.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sue the chef met the Sioux chef.
It could be all the above.
This is one of those, like they say, buffalo, buffalo, buffalo is a sentence. You know what I mean?
Oh.
It's the word buffalo 7 times in a row is a grammatically complete sentence.
That's amazing.
It's the buffalo from buffalo, verb buffalo,
right.
the buffalo.
Is it?
It makes more sense on paper than it does saying it out loud.
Okay.
Saying it out loud, I simply sound like an idiot.
I mean, we'll print out this podcast. You guys listening from home.
Yeah, diagram
It'll make so
it.
much more sense.
Get your English teacher to diagram it for all the kids out there. Okay, Josh wrote in and suggested pots and pans, which I think is kind of a front runner for me.
I mean, and
it's
again,
so silly.
It's pretty fun. Yeah.
And Josh's suggestion was to use it in the same cadence as friends and fam.
Right.
Friends and fam, pots and pans.
Pots and pans.
I don't hate it.
Pans? Yeah. I mean, it's cute. It definitely feels like, you can decide if you're a pot or a pan, too.
That's true.
Gives you some options if you don't identify too much with one or the other.
Yeah. There's no... I was gonna say it's like gender friendly. It's really not. It's still a binary. You still have to pick either pot or pan.
Right. I'm sorry, but we draw the line at pot or pan. But true. But
Yeah.
hey.
Okay, so that's an option.
Cute.
Pots and pans. Vanessa wrote in. Okay, Vanessa wrote in two things. First of all, she suggested The League, which is fun.
Yeah.
Classic. We all know what it is.
It's a good, all-encompassing, and you can address the entire group as the League.
Yeah.
Very.
No gender binary there.
Very. Yes.
You're all the League.
Yeah. There you go.
Okay, so there's that. I want to read
that.
this verbatim. Vanessa also wrote in and tacked on to her message.
And this is our second time hearing this, which I'm very pleased about.
Pretend it's the first. Oh, God. So Vanessa suggested The League and then said, lastly, Sierra is the best and naturally charming and funny.
Excellent.
Just
good to hear it again. That's why I didn't record the first 12 minutes.
Yeah, you wanted me to say it again.
Yeah, I was like, let's run that one back.
I like being faux mad about that.
Very,
we appreciate singular
sweet.
compliments, but it's funny for me to be like, hey.
What the fuck, man? Okay, well, now everybody knows who would write in about next time.
Yeah. If there's one vote for The League, we'll know it's Vanessa, who is a big Sierra fan.
Hell yeah. I appreciate it. Checks in the mail, Vanessa.
And then Daniel also, because last week one of the ones we brought up was, I don't remember if it was the same Daniel. Someone wrote in and suggested, hey, fantasy sports is also known as rotisserie. So what if we were called rotisserants or roadies for short? And we kind of went, okay, it's not bad. It's there.
Right.
Daniel wrote in and gave us a breakdown of where rotisserie comes from. Apparently there's a 30 for 30 on this. There's an ESPN documentary about the history of fantasy sports and how it started in a rotisserie restaurant. And it's why a bunch of aspects of fantasy sports reference like roto or roti. So that was an indirect suggestion, but I would imagine that Daniel's casting their vote behind rotisseries.
Yeah. I mean, that one's growing on me because, you got the connection, both angles.
Okay.
In one word.
It's growing on you.
It is, actually, since that, because I would say that history, again, probably, this documentary sounds great. Probably,
we're never going to watch it. I'm sure it's great. All the 30 for 30s are great.
I'll take it. Yeah, I'll take your word for it. That's the history. But yeah, but the fact that, yes, it's coming from rotisserie, a cooking term.
Sure.
Combined with a fantasy sports league.
Yeah.
It's certainly a strong one.
It checks all the boxes, but to me it's also a little bit like you have to explain it.
Sure. Yeah, that was a long walk.
Yeah, there's that element to it where people go, what? You got to go, well, historically, and anytime like a name requires an explanation, it's like it doesn't.
Right.
It's
then
not
like,
as sticky.
why are we here?
Yeah.
Sure. Okay.
But we're not
Some
ruling
downsides.
it out.
I mean, yeah, I would say it's good. We're gonna cook on it a little bit, and then we'll see.
Whoa, I see what you did there. We're gonna cook on it.
And then we'll get Iffy's input as well, and then I'm sure more people please still write in.
The polls are not closed. You can write in whatever candidate appeals to your values.
Yeah. Now you know, and of course, compliment one of us only.
Your vote counts for more if you compliment only one of us. Yeah. We won't tell you which one. But one person's reading all the emails. Okay. It's Patisserie Week. It's the semifinal.
Hell yeah.
We.
Sorry.
It feels so stupid to redo the same bits.
Sure, but
it is worth mentioning.
Them,
I just want to get it off my chest that I never know what semi or quasi or.
Hey, I almost forgot that.
Quarter
you didn't know
means.
that.
The example that I used earlier is like when there's especially this time of year, when you see a commercial, it's like, it's our semi-annual sale. I don't know if that means twice a year or every 2 years.
I think, and I also think semi is super vague.
Yeah.
I guess it does mean like half or, twice, but.
What's a semi-truck?
But it could
it's
be
not
anything.
half a truck.
Right. I feel like semi is just
it's not two
part
trucks.
of. It doesn't necessarily mean like half or, it's sort of just that vague, anything that's less than a whole.
Sure.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But maybe I'm wrong. But
someone's gonna
semifinal.
write in and be like, "You're wrong. Here's what semi means."
I mean, yeah, great.
But this is what we were talking about the first time.
On our social media.
Yeah. We win in that scenario. But it's like whenever you look up the definition, it's always like it used to mean this. Here's what it means etymologically. But people use it wrong all the time, so it means whatever you want it to mean.
Right. So basically, we've rendered it completely useless.
Yeah.
But yeah, in this scenario, it really snuck up on me because I was like, okay, semifinal.
Yeah.
That was fast. And then knowing that, yes, the final in this scenario is 3 people. that also means like the math is going to be a little weird. And hey, the music was crazier this time. The cuts were crazier. They were like people
really
were
played up
sweating.
the drama.
Yeah, so I was like, damn, we're here. We are almost done.
Yeah, kick the door and semifinals.
Crazy.
It's starting.
It was. It was.
Okay, the last thing I'll say before we dive into the challenges, Allison's makeup, matching her outfit. Big fan. Little
Stunning.
purple moment up here on the eyes.
Always intrigued. And, again to Mike, but
For the first time
for the first time to everyone else, when I see a good accent like that, like a kind of something that stands out makeup wise, I'm like, give me that semi-annual sale at Sephora, baby. I need to add to my little box of makeup because that's not an item I have, purple, kind of shiny eyeliner or glitter stuff.
Yeah, what's your collection look like right now? Do
it's
you have
basic. Well, no, it's
skin tones and neutrals.
I always think it's pretty basic, but then anytime I show people are like, what do you have there? It's like a bag. Because there a lot goes into this. I have an eyebrow pencil.
Okay, yeah.
Because I gotta fill those in.
Sure.
I gotta do the eyeliner. I gotta do the eyelashes. It's a lot of stuff to kind of like make the face that people think will exist already.
Yeah.
Be like, this is where the face is. Yeah.
Yeah. Boy makeup.
Yeah. Right. You're just like
when boys are on set, it's like you get makeup, but it's never like.
It's more of a
fun.
grooming.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And and then the foundation and stuff. So it's all stuff that isn't really doing anything too fun, right? I like the glitters and the lip glosses or like the fancy jewels on the face.
Yeah.
Think Euphoria, the little the special eyelashes or anything like that. Like that's kind of like a second box that I think needs to be filled. But
and that box is empty for you
at this time. Yes.
So right now, when someone goes like, "I'm having a Taylor Swift themed party," and the girlies are all like, "We're gonna paint our faces red,"
right?
Not in a make fun of Native American people kind of way, but in like a
right,
red
we're
album
gonna
kind of
go
red.
for it. Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Like
You don't have like a
album on
swatch
the
of
face.
red to like put on your eyelids.
I would probably use lipstick.
Okay.
Right? You could
right
kind
on
of
the eyelids.
Or blush. Yeah. Hey, it's a thing. Yeah, you could use blush. I mean, people are creative with a lot of stuff. I think that's what I'm learning. But you have your basics, and then hopefully somebody in your friend group like is that person. And they're just like, let's
Everyone's
go.
got one cosmetologist in the friend group who's like, come over here and I'll do your face.
We're all getting pink-eyed. We're all spreading these face diseases on each other. Yeah.
That's the friend you were talking about, like bejeweling. I feel like in the last couple of years I've seen more at weddings and birthdays and stuff, like a bejeweling station.
Yeah.
Like here I got these little sticky jewels off Amazon.
Right. Yeah, I'm sure it's way more common. I will say I have a story.
Here we go.
When I was in middle school, I was not invited to a bat mitzvah.
Oh, no.
And that bat mitzvah did have the bejewel station. So everybody came to school with the bejeweled face, except for those who were not invited, myself included.
A visual marker of the cool kids.
Yeah, so there was a clear understanding of who was in and who was out. But hey, now I can bejewel any day because I'm an adult.
Did the bejeweling last overnight?
Yeah, I guess so.
That's the more miraculous thing to me is that a middle schooler like didn't
scrape it off their
face,
take
exactly.
it off in like a I mean it was a marker of a fun weekend,
status and wealth.
Yeah. And why would you remove that? You know what I mean?
Yeah. This is like oh no. My first instinct was that people are not going to like this. It's like in the week after a marathon when people are still wearing their medals.
Cute.
It sounds like I'm making fun of people who are doing charity, which is not great. But there's a little part of me that's like, I get it. You're a hero. You can put that away now.
Sure, yeah. You didn't go to sleep with it. Like you put it back on. You chose to put it back on.
Yeah, exactly.
In the morning
You're getting
and
dressed
walk
every
out
day
with
and
it.
putting on your medal so that
Yeah.
people give you a free coffee. Which, like, if I ran a marathon, maybe I would do it too.
Sure. I think maybe right. Never come close to that. So I could not even tell you, but yeah, that's funny. That's a funny thing.
Yeah.
I do think.
I mean, I don't look. I can't remember if we talked about this in this recording or the last one. I just hired a personal trainer for my wedding.
Yes.
And so I'm like, I don't think I'm gonna become a drastically different person in the next like 6 months. But part of me is like, look, what if in April I'm like, I'll sign up for a marathon? What if that's how good at running I get?
Right, and then you'll wake up the next morning, you'll see that medal staring at you as you leave, and you're about to go get coffee, and you're like, well, maybe it's okay.
I might be a victim to my own.
Yeah. It's okay.
This was something that the trainer that I hired talked to me about. I was like, I don't want to like bulk up. I don't want to add muscle mass. I want to like tone what I have. You know what I mean?
Cool.
And he didn't say it in a mean way, but he was kind of like, that's not going to happen. He was like, look, you have to work really hard to bulk up. Like it doesn't just appear out of nowhere. You don't suddenly go, oops, I have a bunch of muscles, you know?
Interesting. Yeah, I don't know how that works either. But yeah, I can assume that's funny. It's being like,
Yeah. So it's the same. It's like
you don't have to worry about that.
Me being like, maybe I'll run a marathon. It's like, no, I won't.
Oh,
There's no part of me. It's like,
please, whatever we do, don't
make
sure
me
too
good
at
running. Yeah, it's not
by accident. Make sure I don't accidentally run through that finish line.
Yeah, exactly. I hope I don't become the best version of myself. Just don't.
Keep an eye on me.
Our signature challenge this week was to make 2 batches of 8 laminated breakfast pastries, at least one of which had to be filled or topped. They called it the most ambitious signature challenge ever in the history of Great British Bake Off.
The most ambitious crossover in Marvel history. That's all I can think about when people say that.
What was the most ambitious crossover in Marvel history?
I think, Avengers Infinity War. It was just like, there's going to be Captain America and the Hulk and Iron Man.
For some reason, the
Black Panther.
The cadence with which you said it made me think that they used that as marketing for like a board game or something.
Oh, sure.
You know
Barbie.
What I mean? Yeah.
But in Wakanda. Yeah. I don't know. I think it was just the movie.
Yeah, so they had 1 hour to prepare their dough, and then they got to rest it overnight. The laminated pastry is one of those things where, having watched multiple cooking shows over multiple years, I know what it entails intellectually. I couldn't do it, but I understand it. And yet, every time I watch it, I'm like, fuck, this is so hard.
It's just a lot.
It's
and
a
then
lot.
The payoff is like fine.
Really?
Well, I'm like, I just didn't realize how much work that is.
Yeah.
And again, I think it was like every time, you kind of hear about it again. And then when I think about like eating a croissant, I love it, but it's not like I'm not gonna.
You guys could do less.
It's like if we lost all bakers in the world by some horrible
you'd be fine.
thing, I would be like, I'm not gonna do that to get a croissant back. You know what I mean? I will not be taking up the mantle.
Yeah,
I will just probably go without croissants at that point.
Right, that makes sense.
I'll take one if it's on the shelf, but I don't know if I'm like, I miss croissants so much, I'm going to go through this fucking hell to eat one.
That's how I feel about most soups.
Interesting.
I'm not a soup person. I love a soup. If you give me a soup, I'll be happy. Mm-hmm. But if we got rid of all soup tomorrow, I'd be okay.
I mean, I think, though, it's not too hard to make a soup.
That's true.
A basic soup.
You're talking about the labor process involved.
I don't think I would miss it so bad in proportion to how much goes into it, right?
Yeah.
But that's maybe, if it were slightly easier, I'd be like, sure, I love a croissant.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Leeks, that's mine. Have you ever cut open a leek? There's so much dirt in between every layer. You have to clean the shit out of a leek just to get basically an onion, and I'm like, I'd rather have an onion.
It is insane. It is, true. It is insane. You're like, why are these so much dirt? Where's the dirt in all the other vegetables?
Yeah.
What's going on with leeks, man?
Yeah.
What's the deal? What's the deal with leeks? There's so much dirt in there. That's good. Save it.
Yeah. Okay. Laminated pastry. Everyone had issues with proving. Not enough time. This is my thing. If everyone made the same mistake, if everyone's underproved, they messed up designing the challenge. It's not possible.
Yeah, everybody had trouble. There was no room for error, but almost like no room to even make it well.
Yeah. Anyway. Okay, Georgie made her coffee and hazelnut pinwheels and chocolate pan suisse. The coffee was Dalgona coffee, which I had to Google. Not the same as Dalgona Squid Game. You know what I'm talking about?
Which is apparently the crackers?
The like honeycomb in the shape of the umbrella. They had to like get it out with a needle and he like licks it.
So that's shot if you if you do it wrong.
So that's like a honeycomb candy from Korea called Dalgona.
Okay.
The coffee, completely unrelated. I forget which country it's from. I'm really bad at research. I skimmed a Wikipedia article. But this video went online of someone making this style of coffee from whatever country it was from. And I think Korean saw it and was like, oh, that reminds us of how you make Dalgona. And then it sort of popularized itself as Dalgona coffee. But no real relation.
So which word? Dalgona comes from what country?
Dalgona comes from Korea.
Oh, okay, cool. So they just, are like, that's basically that.
Dalgona, okay, I'm bringing it up. Macau. Dalgona coffee is from Macau.
Cool.
Whipping equal parts instant coffee powder, sugar, and hot water until it becomes creamy, and then adding it to cold or hot milk.
That sounds delicious.
It does sound delicious. Not the same as Squid Game Dalgona.
This Dalgona coffee, if you whip it wrong, they shoot you. They shoot you. You're dead.
High stakes Starbucks.
That's what makes it taste so good.
Okay. My brain just went away for a second. Do you think it would be fun if Starbucks employees did like a tournament of champions like that? Would you enjoy if you worked at a coffee shop and they're like, we're gonna have one day?
Oh God.
Do you know what I mean? Like I know that some companies do this. Like they'll do like warehouse Olympics where it's like who can pack the most boxes in a minute or whatever.
And
or
then
there,
you watch?
Yeah, there's in Las Vegas every year there's like housekeeping Olympics where like all the casinos send like their best housekeepers and they're like who can like make a bed the fastest, who can like wipe down a mirror the fastest. Like it's fun.
Oh, okay. And then they win like a prize.
Yeah, I would assume a slight pay bump.
Oh God, yeah. They're like, great, you can keep your job.
Yeah.
I mean, there are barista championships apparently.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah.
But I mean, not necessarily any particular barista under any chain. I think it's just like come and make the best latte.
Right. Yeah. But that's like best in the world.
Yeah. Yeah, that's like a real like chef. It would be kind of like a top chef of baristas.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I guess so. There are enough probably. Gosh, there's so much on that menu. They could probably really go crazy with how
who can fire the entire menu in the shortest amount of time.
Yeah. The summer menu. Yeah.
Okay, Georgie made 200 pain suisse in preparation, which is insane. The amount of practice. 200.
This episode, I mean, this is why she was freaking out so hard.
Yeah.
I kind of forgot that she did that in prep. She was just, I mean, probably overextended. And just the fact that, it's like you're in your head like, I did this 200 times, so I can't be wrong. And like, there's a certain point at which you got to just throw up your hands and be like, let the chips fall where they may.
Yeah, exactly. Because this is 12. She made, two sets of 8, 16.
Yeah.
Making 200 in preparation in less than a week.
You're burning yourself out.
That's all you're doing around the clock. You're just pumping out. You're like handing it out to neighbors.
I think you've overdone it at that point, right?
Yeah.
It's like when they say when you're running a marathon. Not that we've ever done it, but you're like not supposed to run the full marathon before. You like
is that
work
a thing?
your way
I had
up.
no idea.
I think you work your way up, and you don't actually run the full marathon until the marathon. Ideally, I don't know. Maybe there's other schools of thought on that. But yeah, it's like God, you can't be overdoing it because then you're just like and that's why she was in her head this whole episode. I think
really in her head.
Yeah, poor thing. But
she got the yips. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Psyching herself out. It's a real mind game.
Really scared me. One of the chocolate pain suisse, she did cross lamination, which they kept building up as like it's this really tough technique and it's easy to mess up, and the judges ended up kind of not caring about it, which was kind of a letdown. Didn't talk about it at all.
Yeah, that happens a lot, it seems. And in the opposite direction, as we'll see, where they mess up and they don't talk about it either.
Yeah.
So, you never know what they're going to latch on to. Yeah. I feel like Christian gets that the most, where he's like, he makes something really good, and then they just absolutely hate it.
Yeah. Anyway, okay, Georgie's pastries, they said it tasted lovely, but the temperature was too high. So it like cooked on the outside, still doughy in the middle.
Right.
She needed extra time.
I mean, that was, the rushing of
She knew it. Yeah, she was putting this out. She's like, they're not done, but they are what they are.
Yeah. She also preempts them a lot, where she's like, this is what I'm unhappy about. Here you go. And it's like, Jesus, just let them fucking eat it, and maybe it'll be fine.
There's a tweet that's something like that. There's certain tweets that are like in my head, all-timers. It's like, it was tweeted in 2016, and it's still in my head.
Banger.
And one of them is like, I don't even remember what the form of the tweet was, but it played on the idea of like putting food in front of your friends and apologizing for it before they've even had it.
Right.
All the time. I think everyone does that.
Yeah. I mean, and that's okay in that setting. I get that. That's just like your humility thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like everybody has to say something, right? Like if you compliment someone's outfit, they have to be like, "Oh well,
this old thing."
Yeah, I just found it.
I was just talking to a friend about this. I think that we stumbled upon the secret, which is people tend to want to talk about where it came from.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, thank you so much. I got it at H&M or whatever. But to me, it's more interesting to talk about, like, to tell an anecdote about it not related to its provenance. You know what I mean? Just like, oh, thanks. My sister's always trying to steal it. Do you know what I mean?
That's a good idea.
Like, oh, thanks. I wore this for one whole week straight when I was on this trip one time.
Oh. That's a good, yeah. I like that. More personality
More
to it. You learn a
personality.
little bit about the person.
And it's still a deflection, because I think at the core it's like some people are bad at taking compliments.
Sure.
So when you say nice jacket, they go, I don't know how to process that.
Right.
And so instead of saying thank you, they'll say, oh, thanks, I got it on Amazon or whatever.
Right.
But if you just switch that a little bit to like, oh, thanks, here's a funny story about it, that's also a way to deflect the compliment and also keep the conversation going.
Yeah, that's a great way to
That's
do
just a
that,
free
I
tip
think.
for you to have conversations at a party next time you're wearing something cool.
Oh my God, you're going to use that this holiday season.
That's
believe
right.
it.
Yeah, wear your cool
Especially-
outfit to the Thanksgiving table.
Maybe a cake dom shirt. Oh, thanks. I got it from, I listened to this wonderful podcast
Yes.
called Top Chef Fantasy League.
Nice.
Let me share it with you.
That was good salesmanship. I like the way you wove that back in.
You know, I'm always trying to sell. That's me. Selling every day.
Consummate saleswoman.
Yeah, that's me. I'm born in the sales room.
Christian made rhubarb and saffron danishes and za'atar and Gruyere swirls. I can't remember if we've talked about this. I know we've talked about it outside of this podcast. I can't remember if we said it on air, but I recently went to Lady Hawk, which is Top Chef Charbel's restaurant here, and you've been too.
Oh, yeah.
And he has a dish there called the za'atar minouche.
Mhm.
It's the most za'atar I've ever had in a single bite of food. It's like a flatbread with like an inch of za'atar on it.
Hell yeah.
But it is so fucking good.
It's great. It's great. Yeah, I mean, loved that Christian incorporated that in here. I mean, and you know, he's always so adventurous with his flavors. I always want him to fucking win, you know, because there is a certain
Always
element
the
of like
bridesmaid.
he's always a bridesmaid. He does try. He sticks his neck out there at least.
Yeah.
And we do get the sense that these judges are a little conservative with their flavors.
Yeah.
and then I feel like he's also like kind of maybe it's like a millennial thing or something where we're kind of like let's try this with that.
Okay,
oh my God,
sure,
you know what
yeah.
I mean? So maybe it's a little bit of that, like it could be wrong, but it is like a different palette, and that's like exciting to us, and that kind of appeals to us as viewers. But but it seemed to work out, and the fact that like apparently, I mean, when I was watching this with Dylan, he was like rhubarb. The English, they love their rhubarb over there. They're
Is
just
Dylan
rhubarbing
not
it
a
up.
rhubarb person?
I got the sense that he was just like, it's just overrated over there in a way that's not like bad or anything, but it's just like we don't really eat it as much here, and it's really going ham over there.
When I was there a month or two ago, there was like I didn't read. I kept seeing Subway ads, Tube ads, and I don't know if it was a cider or like a juice, but there was like a drink product that was like rhubarb flavored. Like that was the flavor.
Wow. Yeah, exactly.
It's like go to your grocery store and buy this rhubarb juice or rhubarb cider.
That, I mean, you know, I never see that here.
Never. But yeah, Christian's the only one who, up to this point, had not had Star Baker. I wrote down that he proved his bakes in a giant Tupperware box. I thought that was fun. Thought that was a creative use of giant storage Tupperware.
Yeah, container store, baby, anything.
They said it looked really inviting. Prue said if I saw them in the pastry shop window, I would want one. It was delicious. Nearly there with the proving and the baking. They said the rhubarb was very tart in a good way. And they said it's very strong, out-of-the-box flavors, and it worked.
Finally,
man.
Poor guy. Yeah. I mean, you know, at least he kept trying. It's like a testament to like he doesn't necessarily take feedback in a way that's
he's not going to like
debilitating.
bend his palate to match someone else. He's like, this is what I like.
Yeah.
You can eat it or you can not, which I appreciate. Jill made her pan au sausage sandwiches with Branley applesauce and banana and custard pastries. There's a little bit of shady editing I wrote down. She said, Dylan's probably going to do something with like thermometers. And I go, that looks right. And then they cut to Dylan like doing something super technical and like reading instructions or something.
Oh, no. Yeah. Classic.
Different styles of baking.
I mean, he's, you know, but he's also had like situations where he's never had the thing before and was able to pull it off.
All
but
the time,
he does have
constantly.
good instincts. I think it's just about the, you know, technical, like he just knows a lot more.
It's what you said.
than
It's
we.
instincts.
Yeah. And he kind of like has that desire to be a chef. So maybe he's a little bit more like knowing a wider range of different possibility.
Whereas Jill strikes me as just like a very talented baker, but that is where the train stops.
I mean, Jill, I think could care less whether she lives or dies.
That's
She's very
true.
like
Yeah.
which is inspiring, as we've always
Yeah, I
said.
love that attitude.
You know, it's like, man, she's really
there was an edit
made it.
in this challenge where at the end it was like Georgie and Dylan both like rushing to finish, and Jill was like sipping on tea, and I'm like, hell yeah, dude, I love that.
I mean, that's what it should be, right?
Yeah.
Like, especially she's kind of, we've talked about, you know, she has this life that she has with her husband, and she goes to the pub with her dog, and she's just kind of like, you know, and it kind of goes back to the generational difference sometimes of people where it's like, if you've like lived your life, like this competition is not that exciting.
Exactly. She's
I
had
mean,
other
it's
cool
fine.
accomplishments.
Yeah, you'll be fine.
They said that Jill's pastries had too much sausage, so it delaminated itself, felt a little rushed. But the banana was good. It did need more proving, so it was a bit tough and doughy, but good. Dylan made hazelnut and cinnamon croissants, and he only made croissants because he misread the rules for the challenge. The challenge was to do it in 3 hours, and at home he had been practicing in 2 hours instead of 3. I feel like that's pretty on brand for Dylan. I'm not surprised that he misread the instructions. Thank God he misread it in the better direction.
Right.
If he had misread it as 4 hours, then he would be absolutely screwed.
Yeah, and I mean too. I mean, everybody was cutting it so close that it's almost kind of like.
And he still cut it close.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
was-
I
it's
mean,
not
it
like-
didn't show. Like
He was like, I have an extra hour, and then at the end he was like, oh no, where'd the
Yeah.
extra hour go? So I'm like, I don't know what you would have done if you would have prepared for 3 hours.
Yeah, God. But yeah, he is a little. He, you know, those little brother energy things do come out every so often that we've talked about. You know, I was just like things were just flopping on the floor this whole
He
episode.
dropped so many things. That's the last challenge. We'll get there.
Sure.
Okay, I want to know what you think of this little kerfuffle between Paul and Dylan. Because Dylan's like, I'm going to make croissants, and then I'm going to pipe the filling in later. And Paul was like, so you can cover up your mistakes? Which, I understand what he's saying.
Mhm.
You're judging a baking competition show. You want to see, like, the crumb structure inside of croissant. But to me, I'm like, that's how a lot of the best croissants come out.
You're right. Yeah, I didn't really understand that. You know, and then I know Dylan ended up leaving one non-stuffed or whatever, so that's good. But yeah, I was like, oh, well, what is that?
What's the
didn't realize
alternative?
That was like.
I mean, I
not
know what the
allowed.
alternative is to, like, roll in your fillings and then bake it into the pastry. But I'm like,
God.
I can't tell you how many bake shops I've been to where they pipe in some creme pat after, and it's delicious, and I don't care.
I just assumed that would be the way to do it.
Yeah, it's not. I'm not. No one in the real world's cutting open their croissant and being like, this doesn't honeycomb properly. You know what I mean?
Sure, that would just purely be for this thing. But you know, Paul is kind of funny. Like I feel like with them and Dylan, especially Paul and Dylan, it's like this kind of, you know, it's become this cute little mentorship almost where he's maybe a little harder on him at times or a little more impressed with him
because he knows he can take it.
There's some I'm hard on you because I know you can do it. So I feel like that was kind of part of that.
They did say that they did not look as neat as they expected them to look. They were well filled, but again, that's hiding the sins. They needed more proving. The flavor was lovely. Prue said the hazelnut creme pat tasted like tahini. He did not like it at all.
That was rough.
That's brutal.
Yeah, that made me feel, well, I guess it was kind of like a different feedback for Dylan because normally he's like the flavor dude.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wonder how that happened.
I don't know.
Because I feel like hazelnut's pretty different from
very different.
tahini.
I could see like they're two like nutty pastes, sure, but such a drastically different flavor. How would you even? Anyway, okay. The technical challenge was to make a gâteau opera, aka an opera cake. This was a challenge before, right?
Oh.
A better host would have just Googled it and looked it up, but my gut instinct is I was like, I know I've seen this on this show before.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. Yeah, I wouldn't know. But, I mean, it seems standard enough, maybe.
Yeah. It did look good.
Those
I
little
will say
music note curls.
the home economist really went off on this episode. Victoria Onions really did her job.
Oh,
It was
right.
a good-looking cake that they dug into.
Yeah, love the little curls.
Yeah, the curl. No one did their curls right. Everyone's curls broke on the as they were like plating, but the curls were cool.
Yeah.
And taking the mold off was nerve-wracking because it's.
Oh, I know.
They talk so much about those perfect layers.
Yeah. You think it's gonna like flow out like some of those dresses. You know, I mean, have you ever seen those cakes where it's a gown of a princess or something?
No.
It's like a cylinder.
Okay.
And then you remove like a plastic cylinder, kind of like they were doing, and then the dress like falls down, and it's like a dress.
That's pretty.
A skirt.
I love that.
It's cute. It's I think for like kids' birthdays, but
That
you can
checks
get it
out.
for yourself, even if you're
do it for your wedding. Who
30s,
cares?
in your 30s. Yeah,
I did get served. Okay, this is all of my Instagram algorithm is just wedding content. That's all I get served now.
Oh, sure. Yeah,
which
yeah.
fine.
They found you.
Yeah, for the next 6 months, that's all it needs to be. That's the content I want to see.
Yeah.
They nailed me.
Nice.
I did get served one video of a woman who wanted her wedding dress to transform from a white dress into like a rainbow dress.
Okay,
And
same dress. Yeah.
and they showed it and it worked. It was
Cool.
kind of like what you're describing. It was like it was a white dress, but there's this hidden compartment, and then they could like pull out this thing, and it became a rainbow dress.
Nice.
It was
It's very
looked,
like
yeah.
Katniss Everdeen in the Hunger Games.
Very.
You know.
Yeah.
Zendaya at the Met Gala. I know there
Wow.
was like one where she something transformed a little bit. Anyway.
I was just thinking
Look it
like a magician.
Or a magician in the magic show.
Yeah. Quick Change is its own art. There's one magician I know a weird, not like an encyclopedic amount, but I do know a weird amount about magic because I grew up in Las Vegas.
Oh, right.
I loved
Yes,
magic as a kid.
yes. Uh-huh.
There's one magician named Arturo Brachetti, something like that. He's Italian, who is like the master of quick change. I saw one of his shows one time, and it is, look, it's like you're watching the same trick over and over again in different contexts, but it is impressive. He is very good at doing the magician's quick change.
Nice.
Yeah.
That could be a really fun. I mean, but yeah, that's tough because it does seem like that's expected to be just like a transition, and then
Right,
it's like, where's the main event?
Yeah.
But that in and of itself is a trick.
It's sort of okay. So I saw that show at Edinburgh Fringe Festival.
Oh, cool.
And I feel like a lot of Edinburgh Fringe Festival shows, outside of like the one-man shows, outside of like the Fleabags and the Baby Reindeers, when you see just like circus acts, a lot of them feel like that because it's like when you go to the circus, you want variety. But if you just go to one, like I went to a juggling show and I was like, this is very impressive. It's a lot of fucking juggling to watch.
Right. That's still a one.
My brain can only
one
input so
note.
much juggling.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah. Say it's like I can only watch a couple quick changes before I'm like, all right, I got it.
Right, they kind of got to join up and make
Yeah,
a thing. Yeah.
Some art forms need the variety show
yeah.
format.
Yeah.
Okay, the technical challenge in order from worst to first. In fourth place was Georgie, who did it wrong.
Gosh, poor Georgie. In her head.
As soon as she put it in the oven and she looked around, everyone else was still like making things. I was like, oh no, something's wrong. And she knew something was wrong. It felt like she was having a legitimate panic attack, which is terrifying.
She really was. Yeah, I mean, between the first and this, and it was very much like, oh, this is a mind game, and she psyched herself out.
Yeah.
And that's
the
tough.
yips. She got the yips.
The yips.
She did cry, so that is a half point for her.
Yes.
Allison gave her a little pep talk. Okay, we've said this before, but Allison, start a life coaching business on the side. I would pay good money for that kind of pep talk.
Yeah, I mean, yes, she has a great, this will go on forever, her British Bake Off career and presenting career. But, in her later days, if she comes back to Cameo, you know what I mean? She'll be somebody who you're just going to get to, like, talk, give your best friend, like, an awesome pep talk on their birthday or when they're going through a breakup or something. You know what I mean? Like,
two equally traumatic events,
that,
breakup and birthday.
One of the, classic, you're getting older, you're breaking up. No, but I think it's, she has cornered the market for sure.
Yeah. I love Allison.
Really well done. They like acknowledge on their Instagram. They're like, this is, of all of her pep talks, this is one of the top.
If she's not getting a raise from BBC or Channel 4, I mean,
a lot of emotional labor.
Yeah, exactly.
But also, they didn't have a lot of, as we're noticing, not a lot of jokety jokes in this episode because they're trying to raise the stakes and make it exciting. And, the music is intense. So it's kind of like, their role was like, hey, we're here to not joke
Moral
around
support.
and screw with you guys. But, to really make sure you got a square head on your shoulders.
Yeah, exactly. So Georgie did start over. That is another half point there. I wrote 2 observations that one made fun of herself, which I thought was charming. She was like, remember when I was standing here saying I'm just going to stand here? I was like, it's nice to be able to poke fun of yourself. And 2, put a little cold neck towel around her neck, which feels like a very, like, I'm a nurse, I know how to cool down my own body kind of thing.
Right. We've established her nurse-like tendencies, yes.
They said it was not enough coffee and her layers were not even, so she is in last. But in third place, getting a half point for us, Christiane, who really doubled up on the espresso concentrate syrup stuff.
That was funny because everybody else was like,
I want to do a light touch. Yeah.
And he's like,
use a little
bam,
more.
And he's like, another one. And it's like, oh, God, Christiane, and your flavors. Be careful.
But he did nail it. They said that his coffee level was really nice.
His was the only one. Yeah.
He's in third only because it was untidy. His layers kind of all over the place. In second place, getting 1 point, was Jill, who has never made this before, never even made a Jacon sponge. She was like, I know the method, never made it.
Yeah. She was always on the bottom for technicals, so it was like hilarious. So
nice to see her get up to second.
This is the one.
And the recipe said add coffee extract to taste, and she was like,
she hates coffee.
She hates coffee.
She's like, you're gonna make me taste this? Yeah. So didn't have a lot of coffee in hers.
Yeah, and they did say it needed more coffee. In first place, 1.5 points. Dylan, who also said he's never had an opera cake, but this is very neat. Coffee was spot on, good layers. He did say, quote, not exact quote, I'm not good at the arts and crafts style of baking. I'm better at making things look plain. And I was like, Dylan, what?
He made like that peacock.
He made a fucking peacock
with the white cake, and then he's done like so many crazy. He
did
painted,
the Japanese shadow box thing.
Yeah. With the puppet show, he was like painting in the background, and was like, dude,
Dylan,
just like make a cake.
It is so annoying to have to pump up someone who's very good at what they do.
Right.
Because he's like golden boy, but I am like, give yourself a little bit of credit, buddy.
Yeah, I'm like wondering what scale he's going on here. Is it because is it just like him comparing against himself, other parts of it? Or is it like he actually doesn't think so? Or is he fishing for compliments? No,
he might be fishing for compliments.
I'm not really good. Oh, look at this. It's so ugly. And then it's actually really good. Who knows? But anyway, I mean, he still did it.
He still did
Pulled it off.
Okay, the showstopper was to make 12 fruit-shaped entremets. I love this challenge.
Yeah.
It's not like I have an entremet every day. But
you wake up in the morning, put your marathon medal on, pop your entremet, head to the coffee shop.
But when I go to like a nice bakery, they're fun to see in the pastry case.
Oh yeah, I love it. Yes.
Jill made her pick your own car keys entremets: strawberry and mint, lemon shortbread, served in a buttercream basket. Her husband points out that people are going to make fun of her because she called it pick your own car keys. We get a little bit of a swingin' joke. Look, we love a swingers joke.
Sure.
On a family-friendly baking show.
We're really digging her and her husband's energy relationship.
Goals. Honestly, goals.
Yeah, they seem quite happy.
Yeah. This was Jill's first time making entremets, but she did practice. I am going to rule this is dedicated to a dead person because the story she told is specifically about her dad losing car keys.
Yes.
And it's like there are keys in the bake. Those are dad's car keys. This is dedicated to dad, as we know, or as we've ruled in the past. Dad we're considering deceased, so that is a half point there. And I thought, personally, I thought these were so cute.
Yeah.
She had the texture on the strawberry before she did the mirror glaze, and she had that bit where she's like, I hope the texture shows, and it didn't, but it still looked amazing.
Yeah. I mean, it was like the right size, and it looked really yummy, and apparently tasted good.
Yeah, they called them exquisite balls of strawberry. So, well done.
Great.
Georgie made her market box fruits. I just had to pause. I was like, did I say that right? Market box fruits. Yes,
sure.
It's an X.
Yeah,
okay, thank you. Sorry. I'm going insane.
Market box fruits.
Blackberry, whiskey-soaked chocolate cake, limoncello, served in a chocolate basket.
Like a little blackberry mold looking thing.
Yeah. I think the only fault there is that, it would be impossible to make that the size of a blackberry.
Oh, sure, too small.
But maybe, pick a fruit that's, not the size of a blackberry.
Yeah.
Good difference. But it looked cute.
It was, I feel like, I guess that wasn't, they didn't care too much about that, but I agree. It would have been actually cute. Well, because you always think about, those, those gummies that are blackberry, Haribo.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
That's cute.
Yeah. That's cute.
That's a blackberry.
Okay, this is to me, it's like you really start to see the yips come out here on this day, because Noel's talking to her. She pours it into a bowl, not the sieve. She's like, I did that backwards. She froze her mousse before she could add stuff into it, so she's cutting it down to size and squishing it in. She almost dropped a bunch of stuff. So I felt bad. Okay, a couple things that people might try and write in and say, why weren't there points to that? So I just want to clarify here. She said, my fingers are freezing. That's not the same as saying my hands are shaking. I'm not going to say that's no points there. During the last 60 seconds, Dylan was spray painting his avocados, and she was rooting for him. That's not helping. That's cheering.
Oh, yeah.
But nice try. And yeah, she almost dropped stuff, but she specifically said the phrase, I didn't lose any. So nothing we saw in the edit indicates that anything hit the floor, so no points there. The judges did say that her basket looked incredible, beautiful taste. The confit goes with the mousse. Love the whiskey on top. Oh, Paul specifically said, yes, Georgie, when he bit into the limoncello. So we really liked it. Proportions were perfect. They were happy, and it was nice to see her happy.
Yeah, after all that. The basket looked great.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely,
A great bake. She's a very talented baker.
Yeah. It was really a battle of Georgie v. Georgie.
Yeah. Well, okay. No, I have thoughts on the elimination, but we'll get to that later. Dylan made avocado and orange in a nougatine palette box with pistachio and choux inside the avocado. Fucking love this.
I mean, the avocado.
I love avocados just in nature, period. I love a fake avocado entremet. Love that. Love the paint job on the outside.
Looked like real texture of skin.
Yeah. Love the choux bun pit.
Yes, love the pit.
And love that it's pistachio flavored. Everything about this
So
cool.
cool.
Speaks to me.
And it's like you cut through, you really get the cross section of the avocado, which is so fun.
Yeah, truly incredible stuff. I wrote down Dylan's quote. This whole thing has been sick.
Classic.
Really
Dylan
spoken
right
like
there.
a 20-year-old.
Yeah.
No, but Prue said he had a good run, and he had this genuine smile on his face because he wants to be a chef, and it was so.
Oh yeah.
It really was heartwarming.
Response to that. Yeah, he kind of looked like the same thing, like what made that little fence or the little thing that he had.
Yeah,
the
box.
Thing. Yeah, nougatine or whatever. That was like the same thing that he used for that Star Wars thing.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, yeah, it worked well
this
for
recipe
him.
works.
Yeah.
He did drop that on the floor. He dropped a bunch of shit on the floor.
Oh my god.
But so he's losing a half point no matter what. But he dropped that on the
so
floor.
Funny.
Okay.
And then, yeah.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
Well, then when he dropped that one in the sink, and then he was just like, "Oh, I could have used that," or he didn't drop it. He just threw it in the sink.
He threw it in the sink, and I'm like, "Why?"
He was like, "I think he's just urgent. I got to move on. Oh fuck, that's done."
Yeah.
And then you're like, "Oh shit, actually could have saved that,"
Yeah.
And then he didn't. But
that's not
it worked
thinking
out
ahead.
for him, I guess.
It's working harder, not smarter, Yeah. Okay. So he dropped a bunch of stuff. It did. Have you watched? Oh, we haven't even talked about this. Have you watched Junior Bake Off?
No.
Maybe we should do that for the next one in January.
Oh, they start that for children?
Yeah. It's so much fun because everything on that show hits the floor.
Oh, yeah.
Those judges are eating floor cake left and right. The kids drop everything.
That's okay. Yeah. That's hilarious. I mean, makes sense, They're closer to the floor.
And it's just they don't make child-sized freezers, so they get on a step stool, they reach up into a freezer, and then of course it fucking falls.
Yeah, lifting things and
happens all the time.
Gosh, yeah.
It's so much fun to watch. Maybe we'll do that. We'll see.
I mean, hey, it's a good idea. I mean, yeah, and Dylan's closest to being a junior.
That's
so
true. Yeah, he just graduated out of the Junior Bake Off. But that's what made me think of it. Is he dropped so much. Okay, they said it looked incredible. Of course, it works beautifully. They called it a little work of art, but no handshake. And I was kind of surprised.
Sure. Maybe they were just we're shaking this man's hand too much.
Because you could make the argument that he didn't get a handshake because he was missing one. He was one short, but they didn't know.
Yeah, they didn't notice that.
Yeah, so I'm still surprised they didn't give a handshake in the moment. Anyway, Christian made his Sorrento citrus entremets, sour apple, bergamot, pistachio, basil jelly, a big-ass tree right in the middle with a bunch of leaves. This is another one where I'm like, yeah, basil and bergamot. I'm like,
bergamot. I know it's not strong.
I want to eat that, and I want that as a deodorant. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, he's
those are
very
two of my
herbaceous.
favorite scents in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I was crazy about his ideas here.
Yeah. No, I love the sour apple looking thing. I mean, I've always been a sour apple kid.
Oh, yeah?
I don't know if I am anymore, but I used to like the sour apple Jolly Ranchers and the sour straws. You know? So yeah, I liked that idea. I thought maybe it might be a bit strong, but they were so excited about it.
They loved
it was great. And
then
the tree was such an add-on. It's like God,
Yeah, looked really great. He did say it was inspired by a trip to Italy with his partner, who is presumably not dead, so no points there.
Okay, good.
I love his little schedule. He left himself 20 minutes as room for error.
Smart. You got to have that 20 minutes.
He's smart. They called it staggeringly beautiful, and Prue said it goes with my outfit perfectly. They showed her necklace. It was literally two of his entremets stacked on top of each other.
That was crazy.
They said it was really, really good. And I was like, come on, baby, Star Baker. Daddy needs this.
Oh, Christian.
Everyone fucking crushed this challenge. Everyone was talking about how it's never been this close in Bake Off history.
It was really nice that they all did they landed on a good note, for all of them, especially Georgie because she was struggling so hard. But, it was it was a tricky week.
It was. And okay, this is where we can kind of start talking about, because we know that Jill goes home.
Sure.
As I love Georgie, and any day of the week I would pick Georgie's bakes over Jill's bakes. I kind of think Georgie should have gone home.
I think they were really like, we can't send her home because
she wants it too badly and she'll
yeah,
cry.
I don't know. Yeah, it was almost like, because they were kind of like, okay, in between, like before the Showstopper, they were talking about her being on the bottom, and also about like Jill kind of messed up, and so it's, like it was almost a thing where they wanted to really wait for the Showstopper, and I think they were kind of like, if everybody nails in the Showstopper, because we're in the semifinals and we're gonna pick the final 3 here, and the stakes are that high, like we're just gonna go into the history. Because they did kind of say, like, we're going to look back. And they're like, what about how, they're joking about their childhood and stuff. Like, they didn't speak first or whatever. But I think there was kind of, and I kind of get this in Top Chef a little bit too.
Yeah, it's like, who has the better track record?
Yeah, it's almost like.
Or who's projected to do better in the finale.
Right, yeah. It's like the audience is going to get mad at us if we don't put the right people in the finale. So.
I guess to me, I'm like.
feel that way.
They were like, we're going to look at history if it comes to that. But to me, I'm like. Her technical was bad. She had a bad day. It's not her fault.
Yeah.
But her technical was bad. And so to me, I'm like, you don't need to go into history. If the signature bakes are the same and the Showstopper bakes are the same, go to the technical. And she came in like dead last in technical.
Sure. So that should have, I think, if it was fully tallied. Yeah.
And again, I'm glad she's in the finale.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see her finale bakes more than I would have been excited to see Jill's finale bakes.
Right.
But just nuts and bolts, apples to
I
apples.
think so.
I'm like, I think.
And they're both mine, so I almost like didn't really have as much of a, I was just sort of like, oh yeah, I mean, I guess I'd rather put Georgie in, knowing she's stronger. But I kind of also was like sad to see Jill go, of course. But I also was thinking, I wonder if in that signature, they were kind of like, Georgie's was like pretty bad, but they didn't like really acknowledge it as much. But like hers were raw, like not raw, but kind of raw, right? Or something was wrong on the inside.
No, yeah.
So
they
maybe
were
like, that's improved, yeah. Maybe they were thinking that's actually worse. And then the technical, they never weigh the technical that much because Jill's made it through so much and lost the technical.
Or it's just that like all 4 technicals are roughly the same and they're really splitting hairs to sort it 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Okay, we have a few minutes to get through the rest of this. There was no one in line for Star Baker, but the Star Baker was Christian, finally the bride. 2 points
he
for
deserves
Christian.
it. Yeah,
he deserves
it was such a tough week, and I feel like he always brings through. He's always good in the technical, but overall too, he always is able to deliver like a final product that to me looks good.
Yeah,
it's always the flavors that end up getting fucked up. So the fact that he nailed the flavors this time, he finally deserves it.
Bergamot and basil, baby, unbeatable combo.
B&B
in a bakery and in Cologne. Okay, they sent Jill home, and she did not cry. No tears. She was so
was
positive about it.
Kind of.
I love that she addressed the crew. Never happens on any reality show. But she like hugged a cameraman who our producer Valerie investigated was not Damien Eggs.
Damn it!
It was not Damien Eggs.
Jill. Yeah.
But I love a thank you to the crew. That was amazing.
Yeah, she's a real one.
She stole a bowl at the end. Which I thought was also charming.
Right, fair.
That's something everyone who's ever been on a set has thought is like, if no one's looking, I'm going to steal this prop before I go.
Yeah, more people should do it.
I'm glad she got it. Okay, here are our points for this episode. Once again, you can find our scoring rules on our Instagram at TV Chef Fantasy League. Technical challenge, Dylan got first place for 1.5 points. Second place with 1 point was Jill. Third place with a half point was Christian. Our Star Baker this week was Christian. That is plus 2 points. Georgie cried. That's a half point. Georgie started over. That's a half point. Jill dedicated something to her dead dad. That's a half point. Dylan dropped something. He loses a half point. So at the end of this week, Iffy gains 1 point. I gain 2.5. You also gain 2.5.
Oh.
So our leaderboard going into the finale, I have 31 points. I'm in last. I'm not going to win. Iffy,
Christian with some momentum.
I know. I'm hopeful. I still wouldn't win.
Okay.
Iffy is in the middle with 34.5 points. You are in the lead with 38 points. So you do have a healthy lead. It is still possible for Iffy to take over. And I will say everyone has one baker going into the finale, which I think is fun.
Which is very exciting.
It's never happened on this show that we've all had one dog in the race at the end.
I mean, that's how it should be.
Yeah, worked out perfectly. Folks, if you like this podcast, you can rate us and review us and tell your friends. But you can also go to MaximumFun.org/join and support us directly for as little as $5 a month. That would mean the world to us. Thank you so much if you're already contributing. If you have any thoughts or suggestions, especially on what you, the fandom, would like to be called, you can drop us a line on Instagram at TV Chef Fantasy League or send us an email at chef@MaximumFun.org. You can watch full unedited. You can watch full unedited episodes on YouTube. Thank you to Sierra Kata for joining me today. If will be back next week, and so will we.
Hell yeah!
Bye. TV Chef Fantasy League is a Maximum Fun production. This episode was produced by Valerie Moffat and Gabe Mara. Our theme song is by Dylan Van Auken. Follow us on Instagram and YouTube at TV Chef Fantasy League.